I have been reading One Piece and watching One Piece for the last 12 to 13 years of my life. And recently, especially recently, I feel like One Piece fans are some of the most brain dead readers I have ever seen, specifically the ones on Reddit. I have volumes 1 to 102. Okay, I have not gone past that because at that time the books weren't out for like 103, 104. I've been reading the chapters online ever since, and just recently I read chapter 1174, and I'm making this video because of the things I've seen that these people on Reddit say about chapter 1174. It's not even people on Reddit, it's just people online in general. They have the most brain dead takes that I've ever seen, and these fans are such ingrates. For the last 28 years or 29 years, we have been getting consistent, great storytelling from Oda, and the fact that he's been pushing this much to give us this story, and these One Piece fans are so stupid, like, because I saw this thing on the chapter 1174. I can't remember. I think I saw it on Reddit or Twitter. I don't remember, but it was basically someone saying how Loki's eyes were doing heavy lifting, the glowing eyes of Loki. I'm sure you guys have seen this image. I can try to pull it up here right now and show you guys. Like I sent it to a friend of mine, and I just find this so dumb because these people find the most smallest things to complain about, and they just don't have a valid reason to complain about it. They're complaining just to complain. So this guy, he basically drew the pupils. Got rid of the glowing eyes of Loki and drew pupils on it and said this is how it would look if Oda didn't like make his eyes glow. But it's such a stupid thing to complain about because if you got the glowing eyes and they look cool, why are you complaining about it? You know why are you even bothering to look into it that much? So hold up, I think I have the poster right here. Um, okay, so this is the post. So if I like go in a little closer, you can see like on one side it's the uh, pupils being shown, and then the other side is the glowing. The glowing one is the original of from the manga, and people are saying glowing eyes doing some heavy lifting. Not gonna lie, it's just so irrelevant. And then on top of that, recently I've been seeing like, which is actually like it shocks me that there are people complaining about Wano. And if you have like a valid complaint, okay. But what I've seen is people complaining about Wano saying stuff like, "Oh, the hype wasn't real. Oda hyped it up and it didn't meet the expect. It did meet the expectations. Wano did meet the expectations. I don't care what anyone says, because I feel like people forget the fact that Wano has been a build up. The Emperor Kaido has been a build up from probably from freaking um Marineford War. That's when Kaido is mentioned. That's when Shanks it was apparently Shanks that stopped Kaido and everybody was talking about it. And then from there on you see this build up happening. You see it in Punk Hazard, right? Everything connects. It's written so beautifully. Everything connects from the factories in Punk Hazard to them taking Caesar, and then Caesar's like, yo, Doflamingo's gonna come after you, and Doflamingo's working under Kaido. Doflamingo is going after the Straw Hats now because he doesn't want Kaido to go after his neck. You know, then they go to Zou, and Kaido's henchman is there, and he basically like slaughters people there. It's all a build up towards Kaido, and I think Oda did it perfectly because once Wano starts, you see how much of a tank Kaido is. You see how powerful Kaido really is. For people to complain about this now, this is exactly what I mean when I say they are stupid and they are brain dead. Because you weren't complaining about this when Wano was coming out. Everybody was hyped when Wano was out. Everybody was reading every chapter, seeing like all these things happening, watching the episodes weekly, waiting for this crazy battle to start, and the battle was crazy, you know. So for people to complain about Wano, it just blows my mind because at that time you guys weren't complaining about it. You guys were loving it. And now all of a sudden you want to complain about it. You guys want to act like you're smart. You guys want to say stuff like, "Oh, Oda retcon this, Oda retcon that." But no matter how much you complain about it, every week you're tuning in. Every week you're looking at the latest chapter drop, or every other week you're looking at the latest chapter drop. So it doesn't really make any sense to me as to you complaining and you're still reading the story. You're still enjoying the story. They say that Jujutsu Kaisen fans don't have reading comprehension. I think it's the One Piece fans that don't have reading comprehension, because you guys can't appreciate a good story. Authors have their flaws. Okay, it's not like every story is gonna be written to like the most perfected thing written, but what comes close to it, I do believe, is One Piece. It has the greatest storytelling. It has the greatest world building. One Piece to me is a perfect story. I think this is the most perfect a story can get. And look, I've been reading this for 12, 13 years, okay? I'm not even being biased. I know how crazy that sounds, but I have read so many mangas. I've watched so many animes. I've watched so many stories. I've played video games. I've watched movies. I've watched shows. No story, to me, comes close to what Oda has written for One Piece. So, anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about this real quick. Um, it just doesn't make any sense to me, especially with the recent events. Like I see the other stuff too, which I do kind of agree with. Like for example, I saw this one poster was like uh biggest One Piece stocks that didn't live up to the hype, and it was showing like characters that had like a high stock price and they just dropped. And number one was like Garling, which I do agree with, like the hype for them. But overall, I'm in it for the story. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the characters. I love the characters. 1174 literally made me tear up. Only Oda can do this. Only One Piece can make you tear up in one moment and get you hyped the next moment. Because spoilers, I'm going into spoilers right now for 1174. That scene where all the parents and the teachers and the brothers are coming in to die with their kids so that they wouldn't be alone made me tear up so much. And then in the next scene, it's literally like Luffy pulling up on Loki, and the drums of liberation are playing, and it was so hype. It was so hype. And I'm telling you, only One Piece will make you tear up and make you laugh and then get you hyped up all within seconds of reading it or watching it. So for me to see people complaining about 1174 over stupid things like, oh, Loki's skill is not as big as it seems, or Loki's eyes are glowing but they don't actually look like that. And another thing about that, I like, is it the attention span? I don't understand, because literally a couple panels before that, Oda did show Loki's eye, like a close up shot of Loki's eye, and it did not look like the way these fans drew it. It looked like a dragon's eye. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. Chapter 1174 was amazing, and I just can't wait to see what happens next. And I feel like people have to realize that there has to be like some kind of intimidation factor for a character introduction. That's why Kaido was so large when he was first introduced. And obviously it could be the same for Loki or it could not be. I don't know. But I'm just saying that when Oda introduces his character, he does it in a grand way. And I feel like people forget that. People forget that Oda's character introductions are meant to be like this huge scale, this huge grand. Even like, like for example, Whitebeard, Doflamingo, all these characters, right? They're not as big as Kaido, obviously, or Loki, but they have this grand introduction to them, and I feel like people forget that. But yeah, amazing chapter. I can't wait to see what happens next, and I just wanted to talk about the fuel kick. I wanted to talk about how this annoys me so much. These people online complaining about the smallest things in this story. At this point, you're not enjoying the story. You're reading it just to complain about it. You might as well stop reading it. But me personally, I'm enjoying it. I'm sure there's millions and millions of others who are enjoying it just like me. But yeah, just wanted to talk about that real quick. Hope you guys have a great day.